Okay, hello and welcome to the Legal Education Board lecture series entitled Raising the Bar. Okay. Our topic is local government, or sometimes called in your subject as public corporation. Uh, Local government is another term for municipal corporation. And municipal corporation is one kind of a public corporation. And there are two kinds of public corporation, the private and public corporation. So we begin by defining terms and concepts. We start with the term corporation. Corporation is a body politic, an artificial, an artificial being created by operation of law and having the right of succession and the powers, attributes, and properties expressly authorized by law or incidental to its existence. A corporation, in order to have a legal personality, must be recognized and with the imprimatur of a law. Now, there are private corporations, public corporations, and quasi-public corporations. Uh, umpisa ulit tayo. Umpisa ulit. Nakalimutan ako. Okay. Hello and welcome to Raising the Bar, the lecture series of the Legal Education Board. Our topic today is local government. And to guide us in our discussion, we will follow the syllabus provided for by the Supreme Court for the 2025 bar examinations. So, on local government, we have to explain first what is a corporation. Corporations are artificial beings created by operation of law, having the right of succession and the powers, attributes, and properties expressly authorized by law or incident to its existence. A corporation may be private or public or quasi-public corporations. Private corporations are created by private individuals principally for profit. They are formed for private purpose, benefit, aim, or end. So it is organized wholly for profit and to the advantage of its members. And private corporations are created by incorporating and registering with the Securities and Exchange Commission. Under the Constitution, any group of persons may form an association, organization, or unions. But having been registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission as a corporation entitles the artificial being of legal personality. It has the right to sue and be sued under its corporate name, to own personal or real property, just like a natural person. Now, a public corporation are those formed or organized for the government to exercise certain powers as a portion of the state. They are created by the state either by a general law or a special law. Now, quasi-public corporations are private corporations created by private individuals, perhaps for profit or gain, but the services that they render is for public service. They supply public needs or wants. And since there is a public interest factor in among quasi public corporations, they are required by law to discharge functions for the public benefit. So they are governed and limited by law. Now, how would you know if a corporation is private or public? Well, there are many standards used with regard to their functions, with regard to the nature, but sometimes it is difficult to distinguish because there are private corporations performing public functions, and there are public corporations performing proprietary functions. Sometimes the distinction is very thin or blurred that it is difficult to determine if it is really a public or private corporation. So the test to determine if it is a private or public corporation is the manner of its creation. If the corporation is created by private individuals, and then this is a private corporation. If it is created by law, with its own charter or in a general law, then it's a public corporation. So the determining factor is the manner of creation. Who created it? Now, quasi-public corporations, how would you distinguish it from private corporations? Is quasi-public corporation are just like private corporations created by private persons for profit for their individual gain. Now, the distinction is the performance of their function. Quasi-public corporations performs public sovereign power. Although its incorporators intend to obtain profit from its undertaking, it is performing public sovereign power. An example of quasi-public corporations are PLDT, Meralco, Maynilad, Manila Water, the MRT, LRT, the Philippine National Railways, PNR. These are some examples of quasi-public corporations. Now, we focus on public corporations because that will be our topic. There are also different classes of public corporations. You have quasi-corporation, and they are created as agencies of the state for a narrow and limited purpose. They do not have the powers of self-governance. They are not political subdivisions of the state. Their powers generally relate to the state, but distinguished from local concerns. They have a very narrow and limited purpose. We do not have clear examples here in the Philippines. In the United States, examples of these are the local school districts, the local health districts, the local fire districts, and then the other class is another class of public corporation are municipal corporations. Municipal corporations are territorial and political subdivisions of the state for purpose of local government. They are an agency of the state to assist in civil governance, mainly to regulate and administer local internal affairs. Okay, municipal corporations are territorial and political subdivisions of the state. They act as an agent of the state in order to assist the government mainly to regulate and administer local internal affairs. Another term for municipal corporations are local government units, because municipal corporations, its purpose is for local government. And we are more familiar with that term, local government units, or simply LGUs. Now, what are the elements of municipal corporations? First, they have a legal creation or incorporation. So there must be a law authorizing its existence, whether it may be a general law or a special law. And then it must have a corporate name. Okay? Para tao lang yan, may pangalan. Otherwise, how would you distinguish that corporation from other corporations? A municipal corporation, of course, must have inhabitants in the territory. They constitute the population of the municipal corporation. And then, of course, a place or territory within which the local government can exercise its power. And also to exercise certain corporate functions as authorized by law. So these are the elements of municipal corporation. Kung wala kang territory, walang local government unit. Kung walang tao, local government unit. So these are the elements of municipal corporations. Now, what is the nature and function of municipal corporation? As we have said, they are an agency of the state performing governmental functions. Also, it has another function as an agency of the inhabitants to manage and promote their public affairs. So, they have dual character, no? Municipal corporations have dual character. As an agent of the state, performing public functions, governmental functions, or even constituent functions. And as an agent of the inhabitants, to promote their welfare, health, safety, morals, convenience, and comfort. This is the private character of the municipal corporation for proprietary purpose, proprietary character. They can engage in activity for gain or profit of the municipal corporations. Sometimes also called ministrant functions or non-mandatory or discretionary functions of the municipal corporations. Of course, there are also in other subjects, there are also corporations called government-owned and controlled corporations. It is governed by another law, RA 1049. GOCCs are agencies organized as corporations, vested with functions related to public needs and owned by the government. Example are the Land Bank of the Philippines, PAGCOR, SBMA. They contribute to government's revenue through dividends and other contributions, like for example, PAGCOR. But our topic is public corporation, or specifically municipal corporation, otherwise known as local government units. As a agent of the state, it performs public function. As a corporate entity, just like any private corporations, it may perform functions which are proprietary or private in nature. So every local government unit as a corporation shall have these corporate powers. Under Section 22 of the Local Government Code, they are to have continuous succession in its corporate name, to sue and be sued, to have and use a corporate seal, to acquire and convey real or personal property, to enter into contracts, and if it is authorized by the Sanggunian in behalf of the local government units, they can also perform other functions, authorizing the local chief executive to enter into contracts. So these are the corporate functions, powers of local government units. Now, what are the local government units in under the Constitution? Well, under Article 2, Declaration of State Policy, Section 25, the Constitution states that the state policy is to ensure autonomy of local governments. So that is the thrust of the new Constitution towards more autonomy to local government units. So definition of terms tayo. What are the local government units? Under Article 10, Local Government of the Constitution, Section 1, it states that the territorial and political subdivisions of the Republic of the Philippines are the provinces, cities, municipalities, and barangay. And there shall be an autonomous region of Muslim Mindanao and Cordilleras as provided for by law. So these are the local government units of the Philippines. In order to have a local government unit, there must be a law creating it. There must be a law creating it. The creation of local government units of municipal corporations is legislative in character, meaning there must be a law. And who makes the law in the Philippines? Congress. So there must be a law. So what local government units can Congress create? Province, city, municipality, barangay, the Autonomous Region of Muslim Mindanao, ARMM, and the Cordillera Autonomous Region, or CAR. There must be a law. Let us say there is no Section 1, Article 10 of the Constitution. It did not enumerate the local government units of the Philippines. Then who can create local government units? Still, Congress. Because the creation of a local government unit is legislative in character. So what is the significance of having Section 1 in the Constitution? If with or without that section, it will be Congress who can create local government units. What's the constitutional significance of that section? Well, without this Article 10 or without Section 1, there is no limitation on the power of Congress on what kind of local government unit they can create. They can create a sitio, a borough, a canton, or whatever they want. Because the power to create local government units is legislative in character. However, since the Constitution enumerated the kinds of local government units, what the law does not include, it excludes. No? Express unius es exclusion terms. So, it limited the power of Congress to create local government units. They cannot create a local government unit not enumerated under Section 1. They cannot create a district or borough or what as a territorial and political subdivision of the state. At sabi dyan, Section 1, pwede rin sila mag-create ng ARMM and TAR. Now, can Congress create, for example, a Bicol Autonomous Region or a Samar Autonomous Region? Well, they cannot. Because the Constitution limited only two regions, ARMM and TAR. Is that not discriminatory? Violation of the Equal Protection Laws? Well, no. It's the Constitution itself which enumerated it. But it is also not a violation of the Equal Protection Laws because there is a substantial distinction between the ARMM and Cordillera Autonomous Regions with other regions in the Philippines. Now, what's the substantial distinction? Well, these two regions have unique culture, different from other regions. They have sometimes different religion or beliefs or exercise of their traditions, moral, way of life that sometimes, because other regions or the national government in its general level cannot understand the culture, which may sometimes cause conflict or dispute with other non-member of their community. So the Constitution deems it wise that these regions be given more autonomy, recognizing the unique and distinct culture, tradition, customs, way of life, beliefs, mores of these regions. Now, when you say autonomous region of Muslim Mindanao, it refers to the region, not the people. You cannot say, being an autonomous region of Muslim Mindanao, all inhabitants in that region are Muslims. No. In autonomous region of Muslim Mindanao does not mean all Muslims in the Philippines are covered by the autonomous regions. Some are not living in the region. So when you say ARMM or CAR, it refers to the place, the territory found in that region. Okay. So how is a local government unit created? Of course, it is created by law, but there are certain requirements in order to create a local government unit. Under the Constitution, there are certain requirements depending on the kind of local government unit to be created. Uh, it requires, of course, land area, not territory, land area. Kasi pag sinabi mong territory, baka kasama pa dyan yung tubig. No? It only refers to land area. And then population. And third, income requirement. So these are the requirements to create local government unit. Now it differs, the requirements differ from one unit to another. For a barangay, there is no income requirement. And there is also no land area requirement, except that the land to be created as a barangay must be compact and contiguous, dikit-dikit. Hindi pwede mag-create ng barangay na layo-layo yung land area. Except if it is composed of several small islands in between our waters, of course. So they are separated, but they constitute one barangay. That is an exception to the rule, that it must be compact and contiguous. But with regard to the size of the land area, there is no requirement. Now, with respect to population requirement, to create a barangay, it must have at least a population, minimum population of 2,000 inhabitants. And for Metro Manila, at least 5,000. So with respect to the population requirement in barangay, for the creation of a barangay, there must at least be 2,000 inhabitants. And in Metro Manila, at least 5,000. Exception is if the barangay to be created is predominantly inhabited by indigenous cultural communities. In that case, it does not require any population for that particular barangay. Now, with respect to municipalities, to create a municipality, it requires the income, land area, and population requirement. For income, it must have at least an income in the year before it was created, 2.5 million pesos. And population at least 25,000 inhabitants to have a municipality. And a land area of at least 50 square kilometers. So if you have a municipality is composed of different barangays. Now what about cities? Well, it depends on what kind of a city. There are three classes of cities. Component cities, highly urbanized cities, and independent component cities. Component cities are local government units, but under a province. No? Just like a municipality, component cities are under a province. Okay? So provinces are composed of different municipalities and or component cities. To create a city, you only need two requirements: income and population, or income and land area. So yung income requirement, fixed yun. Pero yung the second requirement can be population or land area. So what is the income requirement? At least 20 million pesos. Population, at least 150,000 people. Kung kulang yung 150,000, baka pwedeng ma-meet yung requirements sa land area. At least 100 square kilometers. Now, may mga cities, it's so developed, no? Economically developed, that they can stand on their own. They don't need the supervision of a province. They can stand on their own because of their high economic development and growth. These are referred to as highly urbanized cities. So if a city is highly urbanized, it is not under the supervision of a province. Chances are a law is created as a law creates a city which at the initial creation is already highly urbanized. So it will not be under a province. Although the land area might be within a province, may or may not be within a province. Let's say, for example, Cebu City. It is under the province of Cebu, but it is a highly urbanized city, independent from the province. Quezon City is a highly urbanized city, and it is not under any province. So whether it is within a province or not, the highly urbanized city is not under the supervision of a province, unlike a component city. Now, component cities being under the province, the inhabitants there vote for, the registered voters vote for two sets of officers. The local elective officials of the city and the local elective officials of the province. But if it is a highly urbanized city and it is not under the supervision of a province, the registered voters there only vote for the officials of their highly urbanized city. Okay. Now, there are certain cities which are independent from a province but are not considered as highly urbanized. They are called independent component cities. They are independent from the province because they can stand on their own, just like highly urbanized cities. But they cannot be converted or regarded as highly urbanized city because perhaps they lack one of the requirements. Their income may be high, but the population or land area does not meet the requirement to create a highly urbanized city. So they are referred to as independent component city. But independent component cities, their status is almost similar as highly urbanized city. They are not under the supervision of a province. Now, a city may begin as a component city. Later, siguro umunlad yun. Umunlad yung mga lugar na yon. They can be converted into a highly urbanized city. They can be converted into highly urbanized. If they already meet the requirement for highly urbanized. Mas mataas ang income pag highly urbanized. Mas mataas ang income requirement. 50 million pesos. Kasi kung city lang, 20 million. Ang population at kailangan at least 200,000 inhabitants. Kung city lang, 150,000 na. So, to be converted as highly urbanized cities, it must meet both the income and population requirement. They don't look into the land area requirement anymore because the city is already existing. Nandun na yan, dati na ng city. It's already a, uh, a city created by law. Kino-convert lang siya as highly urbanized. Now, a province, to create a province, dalawa lang ang kailangang requirements. Income and population or income and land area. Ang income requirement is 20 million pesos. Just like a city. Pero yung population mas malaki, 250,000. In fact, mas malaki yung population requirement sa province kesa sa highly urbanized city. Kasi sa HUC, 200,000 lang. Or kung hindi nila ma-meet yung population requirement, to create a province, pwede namang land area, 2,000 square kilometers. No? Mas malaki sa city. Kasi city, ano lang, 100 square kilometers. Ito, 2,000. Ba't ganun kalaki? Because a province is composed of different municipalities and component cities. Okay. So these are the requirements to create these local government units. How do we know if they meet all those requirements? All those verifiable indicators, kung tawagin. No? Paano natin malalaman? Who verifies these indicators in creating these local government units? Pagdating sa land area, the Land Management Bureau of the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, DNR. Pagdating sa population, yung Philippine Statistics Office. Pagdating sa income requirement, the Department of Finance. So sila nag-verify if they meet all those requirements. Now, the Constitution also requires that when a law is passed, creating all these local government units, para maging effective yung law, dapat may plebiscite in the areas directly affected. So the inhabitants in that area will vote for or reject, they may vote favorably or unfavorably in the creation of a local government unit. So dadaan ng plebiscito bago mag-create ng local government unit. So if the people there voted in favor of the law, then meron tayong bagong local government unit. Otherwise, wala. No? Now, ang question, who are the people directly affected in those areas? For example, a component city is under a province. And if the component city now will be converted to a highly urbanized city, kailangan merong plebiscite. Who will vote in that plebiscite? The inhabitants residing in that component city alone? Or all the inhabitants in that province? Sabi ng Supreme Court, all the inhabitants in the province, even if they do not reside in that component city. Why? Well, because pag nahiwalay na yung, naging independent na yung city na yun from the province, then the province, mababawasan yung kanilang population and income and land area or land area. Therefore, they are directly affected. So, lahat sila boboto. Now, there was a time na ang Quezon City gustong ihiwala yung Novaliches. Kasi laki ng Quezon City eh. At yung Novaliches has also a big land area. So gusto nilang ihiwala yung Novaliches. So ang Congress nagpasa ng batas separating Novaliches from Quezon City. Therefore, creating a new city. Kaya lang, when the law was submitted to the people in the plebiscite, it was rejected. Kaya wala tayong separate Novaliches City. Now, question, sino ang boboto in that plebiscite? Sino ang boboto in that plebiscite? Only those residents of Novaliches or the entire population of Quezon City? Sabi ng Supreme Court, the entire population of Quezon City. Why? Pag nahiwalay yung Novaliches, mababawasan yung income ng Quezon City and land area and population. So they are also directly affected. Okay. Now, if the Congress has the power to create local government units, it also has the power to abolish. They can abolish, they can merge two or more local government units, they can divide a local government unit into two, or they can alter the boundaries of the local government units. In all these instances, create, abolish, divide or merge or alter the boundaries, there must be a law, and the law is approved by the people in a plebiscite. So it is possible, although it did not happen yet, no, that there is an existing local government unit. Now, bumaba na yung kanilang population or land area or income, mas mababa dun sa requirement for the creation, pero na-create sila before, pero silang valid creation, naganda mo siguro mga tao nun, tas ako na or what. Congress can pass a law abolishing that local government. Kaya lang, dadaan pa rin siya sa plebiscite in the areas directly affected. Paano kayo mga tao doon na natitira? Voted against the abolition. So then the local government unit will continue to exist despite they are below the population income or land area requirement. Pwede. Pero hindi pa nangyari yung gano'n. Basta ang importante, kailangan ng plebiscite. Now, let's go to the autonomous regions. Dito sa likod ko, makikita niyo yung structure ng local government unit. So, actually, the local governments are considered as part of the executive department. Hindi naman yan legislative na gumagawa ng batas. Hindi naman yan judicial na nag-i-interpret and settle this. They are performing executive functions. And therefore, they are under the executive department. And the chief executive of the executive department is the president. Now, the president has cabinet members. And one of the members of the cabinet is the secretary of the Department of Interior and Local Government.